Right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another coaching webinar. Tonight we're joined with TT Fit. As usual, if you've got any questions throughout the session, please add them in the chat box. So if you click on chat at the bottom of your screen, the chat box should appear. So any questions throughout the session, we will try and answer them all towards the end of the webinar, but feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I will try and answer them as soon as possible. If you have signed up, if you can rename yourself so your name is on there so we can kind of tick off who's attended, because we will be sending out a follow-up email with a bit more information. So if you can rename yourself, that would be perfect. Feel free to keep your camera on and turn it off. We have spotlighted those that are talking, so you won't be on the screen recorded, as this session has been recorded and we will share it at a later date. But other than that, I'll hand you over to Craig Bryant.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks again for logging in and signing up to the TT Fit webinar. Pleased to say that we've got Keith and Jervis joining us, and they are going to run us through the ins and outs of the TT Fit app. I will be pretty much operating as one of you guys. I'll be learning the ins and outs myself as well, and we'll be taking the app on within the England setup as well. So it's a great opportunity for me to learn and work with the players that I'm working with too. I think Keith is going to kick us off with how things are working. As Alid said, feel free to ask questions throughout. I might stop and ask some questions along the way, but we'll try and keep most of the questions towards the end of the webinar. Okay. Over to you, Keith.
Brilliant. So first of all, thanks very much for everyone joining into the webinar. So my name is Keith Knox and I'm joined with my brother Jervis. So long story short, we are both coaches in Belfast in Ormo Table Tennis Club. We have about sort of 250 members. And essentially we have players at all levels, sort of top 10 in Europe right through to hobby players. And we identified a problem in that there is a lack of software and apps available to help coaches and assist players, particularly around player and pathway management, you know, taking that player from club level right through to national level. One of the biggest problems that we had personally from a club perspective is that the players are going away to trips, they're going to the national squads, they're going away to Europe training camps, and it's very difficult to get feedback from them exactly what happened, what the coaches said. So we have various features built into the app, journaling for matches, it pulls statistics, training, journaling, so they can journal day to day. So that's kind of the problem. And then the other aspect of it is there's lots and lots of coaching videos out there for technique. There's lots of coaching videos out there, how to do this, how to do that. But there's not really many videos out there for exercises and training ideas and opportunity to basically enhance yourselves as a coach. And I, for one, I turn up quite often to table tennis sessions, and it is quite difficult to think of new things. And I guess with having an app there with, you know, 50 to 100 exercises, it just sort of inspires you to maybe try something new or to create a training plan that is more specific to that player. So without further ado, the first thing I just want to make sure is that everyone knows how to sign up to the app. So the the TT Fit app is available on iOS and Android. It works for all Android devices. It also works for iPhone and iPad. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you download it from the App Store. If you have an Android phone or tablet, you download it from the Google Play Store. It's completely free to download. It's a freemium type model, which means you get a certain amount of things for free, and then to get some of the paid features. So if you're a registered Table Tennis England coach, we have a coupon and a partnership with Table Tennis England, so you'll be able to basically get the full free version of TT Fit. So once you download the app, you'll see here the home screen. Jervis is going to take us through more of a demo of the app. I'm going to take you through the basic sign up on how to redeem your Table Tennis England coupon. So as soon as you download the app and you open it up, you'll be asked here to essentially put in your login information to register. So your email address, a username, and your password. So here I'm just going to do test user k.k, and I'm just going to click on register. So once you register, this will take you into the app, and you'll see here that now there's some of these icons appear with Pro. So when we click into the home, we need to redeem our coupon. So if we click on the home icon, you'll see here underneath Liam, there's a redeem coupon. So when you click on the redeem coupon, it'll take you through. And for security reasons, you will need to log in again. So here, test user k.k, and I've just put in a test password just for demonstration. So when you get through to here, there's 3 different types of memberships. We have actually made a specific membership for Table Tennis England. So this is the one you want to select. If you select either of these, it's going to ask you for payment details, which is obviously, it kind of defeats the purpose. So you want to select Table Tennis England coaches and players. And then what you do is you paste in your coupon code that Alad and Craig will send out. You click on the apply icon, and it'll say final payable amount is 0, and you click on submit. So that will now essentially accept the payment, and you can essentially close that screen down. And whenever you load back in and you refresh, you will have full unrestricted access to the TT Fit app. So if anyone is having any trouble with that, we do have an in-app messaging function. So if you're struggling, click into the messaging of the app and send us a message. You'll see here TT Fit Media, and that's an automated message from myself. This will, you'll be able to directly speak to myself or Jervis for any help there. So that kind of covers how to sign up. So touch base with Alad and touch base with Craig to get your coupon if you're a registered coach, and that's how you redeem it. So that's all from me in terms of the coupon. I'm going to hand over now to Jervis. He's going to take us through the demo.
Hello guys, thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks Keith. I'm just going to share my screen, just one quick second. Hopefully you'll all be able to see that now. Craig, that's all good if you just give me a nod. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, you've now done your registration, you've done your login, you understand how to do all that there. I'm going to actually now physically show you how to use the app. Okay. So this is the first screen that you come to, is the home screen. It shows you exercises by category, latest exercises, training plans. We zoom on down. We've got some podcasts in there, and we've got some ambassadors, some other further reading. So this is your homepage. Okay. Basically on the bottom, you'll have these 3 tabs. You have exercises, you have fitness, and you have media. Okay. So we click into exercises. In exercise, you'll see a good list of different exercises, some warm up, some table exercises, some multi-ball, different features here. Okay. So let's, for example, go into the first exercise. Okay, we see spin up and free play. Okay, we just let it load up. Okay, it's just a little bit slow. So within your exercise, you basically have a little description on the exercise. You have variations that we can add in. We've got a suggested duration for the exercise. And then we also have a video tutorial. When you click the video tutorial, you can go full screen, and it will give you a version of the exercise by video. Okay, so I'm just going to close that. So we're going to go into some things later on about sharing the exercise and how to send it to your players and a little bit more complex stuff. But very, very simply, you can use your filters up here. You can pick regular exercises, or you can pick irregular exercises. So if I click that, for example, then I get a list of irregular exercises. If I want to tick on the right side, basically we have a lot of different categories broken down. We've got basic footwork, we've got consistency, control, many different categories. You pick the one that you like. Okay, and that will basically then filter all the exercises out by category. So these 2 little filters at the top are very, very useful. You can also search, for example, a common exercise, maybe Falkenberg, you might want to search that. You can actually do a search on the top right. Okay, so that's your exercises.
Just a quick question on the exercises.
Yeah.
Is what you've developed, is that all the exercises that you're going to have, or is that something that you're going to constantly build on, or what's the plan with that?
Yeah, so the plan is until COVID came about, we plan to do a lot more of these exercises. We've actually shot quite a lot of exercise with Ryan Jenkins recently, and we hope to do more with him whenever, you know, travel comes back. So yeah, that will be an ongoing thing. When we can actually film and get back to normal, we tend to keep building that library up.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, so click into fitness. Fitness again is one thing we're really going to try to concentrate on, try and build up. We've actually spoke to a few of the guys in Grantham College about maybe, you know, bringing in some of their stuff that they're working on. We've chatted to some of the guys in France, Stefan Lebrun, and a physical trainer that works with him. So again, over time, we have a lot of generic exercises in here. Got some table tennis specific ones. For example, this one here was taken from a training camp in France, and this guy is very, very good at the physical training in Montpellier. So hopefully we'll start to add in a lot more exercises in the fitness side of things. But again, what we have is a similar sort of setup. We click into the fitness exercise that you want to see. Got one here from Harry White from Grantham. And we go in. This one's a YouTube video, so it's really easy to go in and click play and see what he's doing. Our own exercises are a little bit more back to the standard. So you go in, we have explained it. You can play the video straight away if you want. It's broken down by images as well. Just going to close that. Sorry. We give it a little description, and there's some more that you can review and different things there. So really that, again, you can filter these out. Now we're changing our filters. That's coming in an update, which I'll chat about later, where we'll simply categorize them by, for example, lower body, upper body, full body, reactional, you know, balance. So we're going to work on our filters a little bit as we add more exercises. But on your last question, Craig, we intend to add a lot more into this section now with COVID as well. The third tab on the bottom, so we've got home, we've got the exercise, we've got the fitness, and now we've got media. Media, what we found that there's a lot of basically knowledge that's out there from coaches, from players, from facts that we've learned, you know, from some research that we've done. We've got a guy that's doing pretty much full-time research and doing our interviews for us, Alan Robson. So what he does is we go around all the top players. We find out, for example, we did Matilda, former top 20 in the world, and we asked her a lot of in-depth questions, you know, trying to find a little bit more how she made it to the top, you know, what way she trains, you know, questions on mentality. So really in this section, there's loads of knowledge. If you want to scrub up and find out a little bit more about players, coaches, you know, we've done some fun facts on some of the top players. We've done some tips, you know, on how to train or plan your season. There's a lot of stuff in there. For example, this one's very good. This is how to peak and set out a plan for the season as a player. So there's lots of information in that category. And that's the media. So really these three tabs are very simple. You know, you've got your exercises, you've got your fitness, and you've got your knowledge base as such. A lot of now our communication between coaches and players, which you guys will be really interested in, happens within this tab, the portal on the bottom right. Okay, so this is what you should see. This is just a sample account. So if you have your phone in front of you, just click into the portal and you can kind of go through this with me. Okay. So here you've got your profile image, you've got a little featured image at the top. You can click into your profile, and in here, what you can do is simply click edit, and you can start to put all your details in here. Upload your photos, give yourself a name, username. Obviously, again, if you're working with your players, you want that to be your own proper name so they can easily find you and share stuff with you later on. Okay, so I'll not go into that in too much detail. You've got profile, my statistics, my team, my players, match journaling, training notes, smart coach, my sessions, receive sessions, and community sessions. So the first one we're going to have a look at is my players. Okay, when one of your players goes in and adds you to your team, they will show up in a list form here. Okay, so I've just added myself in as one of the players that I'm coaching. I'll click in, and basically what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to see the data on that player. So I can see my stats. I can see areas that I want to improve on. I can see basic statistics broken down. And then we have this player development plan. So you can put in short and long-term goals. You can put in tournament schedules. Basically, this area here can be expanded as much as you want from a player's perspective or from a coach's perspective. So me as a coach, I might want to go in and I might add a new field. So I might go test field. Okay. And then I might put in some example text. Okay. If I save those, now all of a sudden the player has got a notification and they have seen that the coach has added something into their development plan. Okay. Down at the bottom, we also have an area that you can upload your videos. What we would say is try to keep the videos short, and they're obviously uploaded like anything that you upload into YouTube or whatever. If it's a 1 gigabyte file or a massive file, it's going to take forever to download those onto the basically our server. So keep your videos for your players short and snappy, and you basically, again, you can add as much detail in here at the bottom for the player. So you might want to put some analysis in for each player. They might show you a forehand stroke and you might give them some details. And same thing again, you always have to click save the video changes. Okay. And again, when that happens, the player, just as you've seen very quickly, gets a quick notification to say the coach has updated that area for them. Okay. Other things that you can view within your player's database, you can see their matches. You can see which games they've played. This is a quick journal of a game that I played. I put in, my strengths, my weaknesses. I put in some thoughts. So again, our thinking behind this was there's a lot of times players go, as Keith said, go abroad or go to tournaments and you're not able to go there. So what would be nice to do is this takes less than 2 minutes. Get your players to fill in their match journal, and you're actually able to read these. For example, we had Sophie early away at the European top 10, and she was after each day, at the end of the day, she gave us a little summary and she showed us exactly which players she played. And I was very, very quickly able to see, things that she thought was good, things that maybe were a weakness, and maybe things that we could train on then as soon as she comes home. So this is a very useful little tool. I'll go into that, how that works in a little second. And then you also have
one quick question, Jervis.
Yep.
From Rick, is adding a player. Are you reliant on the player to add the coach, or can the coach add a player?
Yeah. So at the moment, basically, I'll just quickly go back just to show you that. So imagine I'm using this portal now as a player. I would go into my team, okay? And what I would do is I would click this top right button, and then I would add whichever coach that I want. But basically, it's the player has to add the coach at the moment, okay? So we probably will, in our new update, coaches will be allowed to find their player and add them, and then the player will have to approve them if they want them as part of their profile. But at the moment, you have to get your player to go and add you, give them your user name, and basically go in, and I'll show that just again in a wee second.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let me just go back 1 second. So when they add you, you will see your list under my players. Okay, so I'll go back in, and we've seen the player development plan, we've seen the stats, we've seen some matches that I've played. We also found as well that, it's not only important to take away key information from matches. We also found that every training session should be a chance to learn. You should be able to take away, the tips that the coaches has given you. It also is, if you're working one-to-one with a player, this is a way that the coach could actually spend 5 minutes at the end with the player and say, well, let's go through your little journal and we put as much information in there, because as all of you know as well, the player takes it in for a few minutes, forgets about it, comes back to the next session, and we're starting again. So this is a very simple way to log all your information. And I'm just going to show you those features now in a little second. So if you want to find your players, it's under the My Players tab, okay? And then we have My Team. So imagine now I'm a player, okay? This is what I'll see. I'll see my coach up at the top. I may see a coach, I may see a mentor, I may see a brother, a sister, somebody, whoever you want to have as part of your team, okay? That player will then start to develop their player development plan. This is this area here. Now, our new update coming, we have expanded this by adding in some tabs. We are able to move our fields up and down, lots of really, really good stuff. And we're able to upload documents as well. But at the moment, basically, we have set out, this is a sample one I've set out for you. We've got our short-term goals, long-term goals, our tournament schedule, key opponents, training schedule, maybe some trigger words, some mental preparation. But basically, you can expand this as much as you want, okay, as a player. Also, as I showed you, as a coach, you'll be able to pop into the player's profile and you'll be able to add and edit areas as well. So simply type in your title and then your sample text. You always must remember, as a coach or a player, any change that you made, if you want it to be saved, it has to be saved as a portal change. That means the player will get an update, okay? And it's the exact same thing with the videos. This is, as a player, you go to upload your video. Once it uploads, then you can put as much text as you want, and you have to use the save video feature. Okay. Any questions on that one?
Just one question, I think from previous conversations with Keith, that quite an important thing to do, that once you're done with videos, just to mark them off, and you can delete them and take them off of your profile, can't you?
Yeah, so let me just go back in. So if I want to, sorry, it's just loading here. If I want to go in and I want to delete this last video, you just simply click the little X button and you just click OK, and that's it gone. And again, just make that save as well. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And it's the same, actually. Say, for example, I have this saved and I don't want this anymore. I would do the exact same. Press the little X button. And then basically I would just make, so I could delete all these. Let me see. Okay, so I can delete all them fields that I want, and then I simply save the change again. Okay, so two main areas, if you just remember, as coaches, if you want to see your player list, you go into My Players. If you want to see your team, if you're a player and you want to find your coach, it's under My Team. And if you want to add your coach, you simply go into your My Team area, go to the top plus button, and then you find whatever coach that you want. Okay, you can do a simple add, and I can do a search. I can do a search for one of those test coaches, for example. Okay, so GK test. I've just added that coach now to my profile. Okay, and that means they're added up there. Sorry, if you want to, another little feature is if you want to remove a coach, imagine I'm a player and I want to remove this coach, I simply slide to the left and I click delete. That's a very important one. So if you want to delete a coach or a mentor off your profile, you simply slide them across and then click delete. Okay, so a little bit complex, but just simply remember your list of players will be under My Players. That's the main area you're going to be working out of as coaches. Okay, you find your player and then you go in, you view their stats, you view their player development plan, you view your matches, you view your training, and you can work all within that. Okay, so now to advise your players on how to best use this, we're going to look at match journaling first. If I click into match journaling, this will give you a list of matches that this player has journaled. Okay, I want to click in. I'll be able to go in and very quickly see all the different stats that I've taken on that player's taken from the journal. Okay. To add a new journal, simply go up to the top right and click the little icon, and then you basically start to fill your journal in. So these are the key areas we have looked at. We think that's important. Player name that the player is playing, the venue, the date, the match score. Is it a lefty? Is it a righty? Is it an attacker? Is it a defender? We want to put some notes in on the opponent's strengths. We want to put some notes in on the opponent's weaknesses. Areas of the game that you're actually happy with yourself as a player, areas that you want to improve as a player. And then we've got this area here. So we've got these different main areas of improvement: third ball forehand, third ball backhand receive, flick, counter topspin, blocking. Okay, this will link up with a thing called the smart coach, which I'll explain in a little bit. But it's very important that the player selects which one of these main areas caused them the problem. Okay, if they won or they lost. Even if they won, you still might want to try and look for something that you want to improve on as well. We've added in these new areas called rate your enjoyment and rate your attitude. These will also add stats. I think it's good for you as coaches to know how is the attitude from the player on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. How are they enjoying it? If they're constantly putting their enjoyment in at a 6 or a 7, you know, maybe they're overtrained. Maybe the exercises aren't so good. Maybe maybe something else is going on in their life. You know, you never know. But we're going to expand this area a little bit more to take more ratings from the players to find out a little bit more. Okay, maybe they've had a bad run of results. Well, maybe that's something to do with their attitude. Maybe that's something to do with their enjoyment. We're also going to add in work ethic as well on, you know, how the players rate themselves. So we think these ratings, doing quite a bit of research, we feel that that's a good thing to add in as well. And then very simply at the bottom, you have next time, what will I do differently? Okay, so again, a very simple one-liner from the player on what they want to do in their next match. Okay, a very important thing is down here. This is the player. They can decide whether the coach will see this journal or not. Okay, so if they want the coach to see the journal, they simply tick this on. If it's a private note and they want to keep it to themselves and nobody else to see it, then they simply uncheck that and they make the save. Okay. And again, we've got some required fields that you've got to fill in there as well each time. I've journaled 3 matches now. Okay. And I simply want to see the stats from for the player can see their own stats. So I can see here, I've won 3 matches. I've lost none. I can see the 3 main areas that I want to work on is third ball backhand. I want to work on my flick and I want to work on my counter topspin. These are the 3 main areas from the match journals. And again, we've got the sets won, sets lost, your record against right-handers, left-handers, your records against attackers, defenders. Again, as our updates come, we're going to really expand the stats. We really want to try and improve that as much as we can, take more. So this is just a starting point at the moment. And that is your match journaling. So again, very important note, if we want to, actually, I'll show you it a little bit. Once you make your 4th match journal, basically we have a smart coach that will make a training session for you. So what it does is it looks at those 8 areas of improvement. And for example, if I'm always saying flick, it'll look in our database of table tennis exercises, look at the ones that work on flick, and then that will make you a session upon that. Okay, so that comes on your fourth journal. I'll actually just show you it. Okay, so test player. I'm just going to call the name. I'm going to say David Lloyd, and we're going to put the date in as today. We're going to put the score in as 3-0. Now, for the stats, you only need the set score, but if you really want, you could do 11-9, 11-9. You could put it in like that. And I'm playing a right-hander. I'm playing an attacker. So opponent's strengths, we could say forehand. Just say forehand topspin. I'll just do this very fast. Opponent's weakness, we could say footwork. Obviously, you'll want this in a lot more detail. This is just a sample. Areas of games you were happy with, we'll say my serve. Serve is effective. Areas that I want to improve on. Backhand. Okay, backhand topspin. And basically I've said I want to work on the backhand topspin. So maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in third ball backhand. Okay, I'm going to rate my enjoyment as I won that match 3-0. So I'm going to put it in as a 9 and my attitude in as an 8. And next time, use my backhand. Okay, and I'm going to share that with my coach. Click save. I've just added in my 4th journal. And now what we should do, if we click into our portal again under Smart Coach, now I've got a session added in here. Okay, so that's taken all the data from my match journals, and now it's created a session for me, including a warm-up and including a couple of table exercises. Any questions on the match journaling and how that links up?
No specific questions about that. I suppose just a quick comment from me is that if players are using this, and obviously Jervis, you went through that and filled it out quickly with minimal information for demonstration purposes. But I think that level of content is quite an important thing for coaches to speak to their players about. Some players can go into lots of detail, which makes it, 1, labour intensive, and 2, not very easy to decipher. Equally, you get players that can just pop in 1 word, and that's not very useful for your future sessions with them as well. So I think it's also talking with your players about how to use this and getting the right level of detail from this analysis as well. But incredibly useful.
Yeah, so just on that, so for example, we use it in our Ormo club quite a lot we've started mainly with the performance-based players, and you're exactly right, Craig. Some give you 1-word answers and some give you lists and lists and lists of stuff. So really what we try to do is the ones that's given us a lot of content and a lot of maybe thinking too much about it, we try to make them try to be a little bit more clear in what they're actually trying to say in each box. And maybe guide them a little bit what should go in there. And then the guys that maybe are putting in the 1-worders, we try to say, well, look, we understand you're maybe not a big talker, or that's not your style, but we try to prompt them a little bit by adding more and say, well, the more you put in this, the more I can help you as a coach, the more I can understand your thinking, the more I can, if I know you want to improve your footwork, well, what is it? Guide me a little bit more, and it means that we can work better as a team. So you're exactly right. That area is very important. And again, as coaches, that you will take a little bit more control of that on guiding them what you think that they should be putting in there and helping them on that.
Cool. One question we've had, and the app is incredibly useful, but I suppose comes with a certain level of maturity. So what sort of age group do you think is suitable? Who should we be pitching this for? Should it be, as young as 10 years old? Should we be aiming for the teenage years? Where do you see it most useful? Where's the introduction come?
Yeah, well, so what way we have seen it even in our own club, we've started with the older players like cadets and junior players to see how it went first of all, and it's been uptaken very, very well. I suppose it's one of these things that people don't do naturally. People don't like to write things down, their thoughts, their feelings about matches, games. So I think, probably us as coaches, it's going to be something we're going to have to work on with the players, that they get more comfortable with that. And also, what we feel is a lot of players that we have in our club, they're not happy to share their thoughts with a group or with us as coaches maybe sometimes. And maybe this is a way to say, well, look, go away, think about it, and add your thoughts in there, and I'll have a wee look at it in my own time. And they might feel more comfortable that way. On age-wise, I suppose you just have to be careful. But, I suppose as the players start to become, if they're young, but they're moving into that performance bracket, then I suppose you start to, introduce them, maybe even 10, 11, and very simple thing, 1 word, 2 words, just to get the process started. Because what we find is the older players, once they move into later seniors, they've kind of got their methods, they kind of know what they want to do. And, it's hard to change that. But, you know, speaking to a few other coaches, like any of these things, like the Zoom calls, you know, you got to build that up little by little. So I think the earlier you start, obviously within reason, you know, and I suppose the coach has to make the judgment call on that, who's ready for that, you know, that sort of connection.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And I think even, you know, there are so many features on the app, and I think it's good for coaches, you know, don't feel like you have to you have to utilize every single feature for all of your players. Like you said, I think drip feed in. What's the most useful feature first? And then you can slowly add in those other features as they go. And like you said, as they get used to it as well. No,
yeah.
good.
So just the next one then is the training notes. So again, as we say, you know, it's not all about matches. Most stuff is actually learned in the training hall. Most stuff is taken away when you're working one-on-one, doing the multi-ball, and, you know, you're doing that individual training. So you want the player to go away and take the notes from the training hall. And we have actually put now more emphasis in trying to record what's happening in training than even in the matches, because our kind of thought as coaches is the work should be done before the tournament. You know, okay, on the tournament days, things can happen. It's very important to know that. But, you know, it's the build-up, it's the process of getting to that tournament, getting to that league match. So we actually feel like the training journals are very important. So again, I'll just show you that again. You're just clicking into, the player clicks into training notes. Now, again, you can use this training notes as a coach as well. There's no reason why you can't just go and take your own notes for each player, you know. So simply top right, click the little icon. Again, you put in the coach's name, the location, the date. You can also click on the date and you can backdate things. So if it was, say, something 3-4 days ago, we can actually change the date to a couple of days ago, and we can okay that. Now, on this version here at the moment that we're missing, I'm not sure if Keith's still there, is he?
Yeah.
On this version, we normally have we've actually changed the layer to this. So we've got technical, physical, mindset, development. We normally put in, there's a little grayed out where we ask two very open questions on technical, physical. So for example, physical, we may say, you know, how's your energy levels? You know, we may say under mindset, you know, how was your focus? You know, questions like that, basically to get the player chatting. But is that coming? Is that Keith in this update?
Yeah, so in about 2 to 3 weeks is a very big update with lots of sort of features and tabs and a lot of improvements, you know, uploading documents and different things as well. So it'll be coming out in 2 to 3 weeks where this has been enhanced quite a lot, to be fair.
So yeah, so just at the minute, just keep it very simple, you know, within the training hall, technical. So you may put in some technical improvement notes. You may put in some, you know, some things that you were really happy with. Maybe as a player, you may have found, you know, a way to get a little bit more speed on the ball or a little bit more turn in the body. So we've put those all into technical. Physical really is then, you know, how did you feel? Your energy levels? Did you get tired? You know, maybe you had a lot of energy at the end of the session. So maybe that's something to note. You know, that also could be, you know, how did you feel about the strength? You know, was your arm getting a little bit tired? Was your core, you know, just looking at all the physical aspects. Mindset again, you know, were you focused all the way through the session? You know, were you listening to the coaching tips from the coaches? You know, were you, when you played competition within the training hall, were you competitive? Were you in the moment? Were you trying to, you know, putting in different things there? And again, development then really what we've laid out for this is then, right, where next, my next session, what am I going to do? How am I going to develop what, you know, the things that I've taken note of, you know? So maybe I got a good tip on moving out wide on my forehand. Well, how do I remember that and how do I develop that then straight away from the start of the next session? And again, we've added, these are going to be the three areas. We've got the enjoyment, the attitude, and the work ethic. Again, I think three really important things that tell you a little bit about your player, and it's very, very simple. They just give themselves a simple rating out of 10. Again, they can share it with the coach, or if it's a personal note, they can do that, and then they just simply say, press save, and then the note will be saved in their training journals, just like this. So this is like an example one we've done. You can just have a wee quick read of that if you want. Okay, so that's your training notes. Any questions on the training notes? It's very similar to the match journals, only you're thinking more about in the training hall, and we've broken them down into those kind of 4 main areas. Any questions on that part?
I think maybe the only thing to add there is that in the next couple of updates, the general goal is if you have 15 or 20 players as part of your training group, in a very quick list, you could view and see, right, which players are not enjoying training, which players are tired. Maybe their workload is, maybe they're working them too hard. So these sorts of features, some of them are orientated towards more performance-based players, but it's a good idea as well, to start the players young, to be thinking that way like a professional. And also just in terms of the 4 boxes there for the training notes, the mindset, the development, the technical, we have left that quite open because we know every player is different. They think about things differently, and it just allows you scope to build upon that. But then here we're able to obviously pull stats and all that. And again, in the new update, I think there's about 5 or 6 more charts and graphs to go in there. So again, next couple of weeks.
Okay, so just one probably final thing then that's going to be very useful. There's obviously a lot more in this, but we're not going to have time to go through everything. A very important thing is then how do you make a session using the app? So very simply what you need to do here is you go in, you can filter out the exercise that you want. So maybe we want to do an exercise, set a training session tonight on basic footwork. So we load up all the basic footwork exercises. I'm just going to do a very quick example. Click the ones that you like, and then we've got this add button. Click on the add button, and we add a new session. So we just click this little plus sign here. Okay, and we're going to go test session. Okay, so give your session a title, click save. Okay, and then I add that to that session. So I click on the little button here and I add it to the session. Okay, it now comes up with a little prompt saying success. We okay that, and then we go in and find another one. Okay, and I like this exercise and I want to add this to test session. Okay, again, press the little radio button and then add to this session. Okay, and okay that. Click back, and then we're going to add one more. And we're going to add this one. Again, click under test session, add this to your session. Okay, we've got 3 good drills that we're happy with. Where do we find these? Bottom right into our portal. And then what we do is we go into my sessions. And now we should see test session. So here's test session. If I click into it, my 3 exercises that I've just picked should be here. Okay. These little boxes on the right-hand side, we've left these for your own interpretation. So what I might say is we might say 15 mins, and we tick the button on that. And we say 15 mins. Okay.
Again, just on this, in the update in the next couple of weeks, we have advanced that session planner a lot more. There's a lot more metrics, reps, sets, tempo, more boxes to add more information, and also a coach comment underneath the exercise. So if you're sending this, there could be tips there for that particular exercise that you personally want to give that player. So again, in the next update, that has been enhanced on quite a bit.
Yeah, and we'll also now.
Would that remain in there until you've deleted it, that session plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to look back on the weeks as to what you've worked on as a team or an individual, and be able to track the progressions that you're working on as well.
Exactly, yeah. And also as well, we'll at the moment, the order that makes up your session is the order that you add them in. But our next update, we'll be able to move the order up and down. So, you might have added 4 exercises, but you might want to give them a different order. We'll be adding that update in as well. But at the moment, it's the way you add them in is the way they show in the session. Again, on your sessions, if you want to delete a session, swipe it to the left, and then up comes the delete button. So if I want to get rid of that, I would just simply click delete, and that gets rid of it. If I want to share this, so I click this little icon on the right-hand side. This is your share. Two options. I can share to a player where I go with a plus sign, and I'll send it to Coach GK, for example. Okay, I click on that user, and I have now sent my session to that user. Okay, how they will see it is if they go back into Portal, in my receive sessions, it will come in there. So sessions that players will receive from coaches will come into my receive sessions. Okay, and my sessions is the sessions that you guys create. Okay. The other thing you might want to do is you might create a really nice session. You might want to, we really want to build this feature of community sessions. You guys taking a look at what exercises we have, making a really nice list of them, and making your own specific exercises. You simply go to the share button and you click this little icon up here. And this basically allows you to share to the TD Fit community. So I can okay that. And now that session will be added in live, which we'll delete it very quickly again. Community sessions. These are sessions that have been added in, and you'll see now that test session has been added in. And again, people can click into that and they can give it a little rating if they like as well. They can see it as a 5-star. But what our hope is that over time, as more coaches start to use this, they'll start to populate really good sessions in there. So we might have some Table Tennis England sessions, some, you know, from some of the clubs abroad, as we improve our list of exercises. So I can go in now and I can delete that out again. So that's basically how you create your own exercise. Again, it's the same thing on the fitness. You know, you go in, add the plus sign, add 3 or 4 fitness exercises that you like, give it a name, and send that out to your players as well. The fitness one probably will be the one that you can use now during lockdown.
I think the only thing to add there as well is you can mix and match. So if you want to have 4 table tennis exercises followed by 3 fitness exercises at the end, you can create that entire plan and send it in the one training plan to your players. One person has asked there about a share all function. So if you have 15 players and you want to send the same session to 15 players, at the moment you do have to do that individually, because our thought process is that you want to make it more specific for that player. So you want to select who you want to send it to. However, in the new update as well, we're allowing you to tick multiple users and click send, so you can send it off to 15-20 people at once.
So hopefully that gives you an overview of the app. Obviously there's a lot in there. There is some information. If you go to the very bottom of the home screen, we have this learning center, which we're going to be adding more and more stuff in there. So it shows you, for example, Keith does a demo of how to do a community session, how the smart coach works, a little bit more information on the coach portal. So, you know, go through those videos, test it out, get a player or two added onto your profile. And that's the best way to start with this, you know, and maybe start off very simply, you know, of getting your players to do a few match journals, or maybe that at the moment, the best thing would be actually get them to start to build their player development plan, this area, set their goals for the season, set some improvements that they want to make. You know, if they're not able to physically play, there's no point sending them out training sessions and stuff. So you could really be clever and use this area and start now, you know, thinking about the player, how they develop, get them to make the start, you know, by putting in some information, and then you as the coach then can add some information and start to bulk that up. And when the lockdown finishes, then the player and coach is ready to go. So hopefully that'll give you quite a lot in there, but again, you know, play around with it. There's not too much that can go wrong. But what I would do is start off, experiment with one feature at a time, and when you're comfortable, then start to build up. If you have any questions, as Keith said, top right, there's the little message button in here, and you can go in and you can actually send us a message at any time if you need some help.
I think there's no better time than now to start introducing this to your players. They're at home. I know they've got schoolwork and things to do, but they're at home. It's easy for them to add this into their routine and get used to it. I think if they get back playing and get into a routine, and then you're trying to add this on top, and it's just an extra challenge. So I think it's a great opportunity to introduce this to them now. One question from me, Jervis, around the teams. I think we've got better at this over time, coaches communicating with each other. And obviously one of the benefits of this app is if a player is working with a number of coaches. And this obviously allows us to see what the players are getting up to with the other coaches. Can we interact with those coaches, or is it just a visual thing to the players?
Yeah, so at the moment, absolutely. So within your My Team area, you may have 5 coaches here, you may have 3 coaches here. When the coach has been accepted and been added into their team, I can go in and I can add as much info as I want. Another coach can go in and add, so how you set that out, obviously over time, we will probably color code this a little bit more, and we'll know what coach has added what, and be a little bit more specific, so the player knows exactly the player will get a notification at the moment on when a coach adds something to the player development plan. But you could simply say again, sample text, and you could say Craig.
I was going to say, Jervis, I could maybe give just a very quick 2-second demo showing that area update, with the slider tabs and things, because that kind of answers your question there, Craig.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah.
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll just share very quickly.
But yeah, so basically anybody within that player's team can interact, add as much text as they want into that area.
Do you see the app at the moment?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
So basically, this kind of answers your question, Craig. So basically, here now this is in the update. So we have allowed the ability to add tabs. So the thought process here is that if you're a really professional player, let's say you're part of the national team for Table Tennis England, you're going to have a national coach, you're going to have a club coach, you may have a physical trainer, you may have a nutritionist. So the idea is that each coach could have their own specific tab for that player. So this could be my personal profile as a player. I can add in 5 to 10 coaches, and then in here, each of the coaches could have their own area. So they could have a nutrition area, so that the nutritionist could add information. You can upload documents. So you can, for example, if you had fitness testing, so if you're carrying out fitness testing as part of the English national squad, they can be uploaded. Any certificates that you may want to give your players in the club, if they have achieved something, again, you can link it all in there. So the idea is that with the new updates, it's very much orientated around that team and collaboration between multiple coaches and that one player. So the player is at the center of it all, collaborating with their team, be it one coach, 2 coach, whatever members is part of their team. So that will be part of the new update as well.
Excellent. Cool. I think luckily Keith was there to answer most of the questions as they came in, so there aren't too many questions at the end. If there are, feel free to fire them into the chat box and we will get them answered. Later on we'll get an email out to you. But as Keith said, there's the chat function on there. There are tutorial videos. And also just play around with it. I'm sure you'll pick it up very quickly and get used to how you use the app as well. Anything from you, Alid, to add?
No, I just want to say a big thank you to both Keith and Jarvis for tonight. Obviously, it is a great app. I think it's going to be a great tool for coaches and players, and then solely just for players. I think it's just something that's going to be a massive benefit for our coaches. I think there's so many different, strings to it that until you start playing about with it a bit more, then I'm sure you'll see all the benefits from it. I mean, no doubt both Keith and Jarvis could have spent a couple of days going through everything. So try to cram it into an hour. It's been pretty impressive. But like I said, if you've got any questions, feel free to email us. if you're on the app, then you've got the chat option on the top right of the screen on the app, so you can ask Keith a question. So you can pester him if you want to. Because that's probably, you're going to cut out the middleman, which would be me or Craig. So feel free to pester him. But yeah, I'm looking forward, and hopefully the coaches are looking forward to using the app.
So just to confirm, yeah, this webinar's being recorded, and we will post this out, so we'll be able to view it again for future reference. We will get an email out to the licensed coaches with their code and with the 25% discount, which coaches can pass on to their players. So that's for the duration of the membership that they choose. There's a monthly option or there's an annual option, and they'll receive a 25% discount depending on which one they go for. So yeah, there'll be a follow-up email with some more information for you.
Yeah, and just finally on my point, just thanks to everybody. You know, start off small, start off simple, and build the app up. You know, there's obviously a lot of info tonight just to kind of show you the massive things that you can do with this. But you know, you might simply use it for adding a training session. You know, that might be the most simple task that you start off with. So, you know, take it at your ease. Look at the bottom of the home screen, because there's loads of, you know, tutorial videos down there, and you can watch them 10, 12 times until, you know, that works for you. But no, just on behalf of myself, thanks very much for everybody attending, and hopefully you'll all start to use it as well.
Cool. Thank you very, very much, both of you, for your time this evening. And yeah, I'm sure everyone will get on with using the app. So thank you. Thanks everyone for attending. Yeah, we'll be in touch and see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much, guys.
Bye-bye.